Welcome, Monkey Mischief Classroom. One thing I wanted to talk about is when you're working with students who are struggling and just having a hard day, um, instead of helping more, I would just move on from the task. For example, if you know the student knows the alphabet, but they're refusing to do a task, let's say it's the letter M, and they have to find all the M's on the page and circle it. And they're just like looking at the paper and not doing it. And instead of pointing to the M, you can point around and say, do you see one here as support? But when you start pointing out the letters, that's when the student realizes, okay, less work for me. If I just sit here quietly, they'll do it for me. So you want to avoid your child getting comfortable like that and using that silence as a means to get out of doing the work themselves. We often get frustrated, and out of that frustration, we end up helping the child where we think we're not helping the child, but we end up helping the child. If the child knows the letter, saying the letter, then you're doing the work for the child. If the child knows the sound and you're giving them the sound for them to repeat, then you're just doing the work for them. They don't have to do the thinking process. And that's what's really important, is helping them understand the thinking process by practicing on things that they know, but they may not right away be able to answer, that they have to really think about first. One thing that I would recommend to do is maybe having a pile of earned and a clearly defined basket that says earned and a clearly defined basket that says lost, and they should be differentiated maybe by color, and taking something that's really preferred of the child's, and let's say the student likes toy cars and they have a lot of toy cars. So basically having the student put those toy cars in the lost pile every time you do an activity and the student doesn't respond, move on to the next activity, but have the student put items, and you can, at that point, if the student just is being non-responsive, you take their hand and you put it in so they know they did it. But they put it in the lost pile, and for that day, that entire day, they have lost those cars. They can only play with whatever is left. That is a great way to get them to understand how much of their learning day they wasted or they were non-responsive. It's a great visual for them. So again, the following day, you remind them, look at all the ones you lost yesterday. I hope you can earn them today. You put them back in the pile and you start all over again. But I've done that even with like cookies. Like I had a student who was obsessed with cookies, and what we would do is he would take off a little piece of the cookie and throw it away. And at the end, during snack time, he could eat whatever of the cookie was left. And sometimes there was just one chocolate chip left, and he's like, this is all I get. I was like, well, that's how good you were. So if you want more of it, then you gotta, step up your game and be a little bit better, make better choices. So the responsibility fell completely on the child. He was the one cutting off the pieces, he was throwing it away, and at the end he was the one having to eat the prize. And if there was no prize, he was like, dang, I was bad. I'm like, and I always said, you weren't bad, you just didn't try hard enough. And, try to give it that positive spin. But that definitely is a great way to encourage the student to start being more responsive and not engaging in those quiet, no response behaviors. Good luck.